Oh, what's up? What's up? What's up? Ooh, what's up? Okay, first of all, once again, I don't ever ask for this thing to be here. Ever, 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 ever. This guy don't want to battle. He should. Ain't no such thing. There we go. What's up, world? Hey, hey, hey. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? All right. Hey, shout out to everybody that's showing up. Shout out to everybody that's showing up. Hey, so I think today I'm also going to start to stream on Instagram as well. I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to try to stream on two different platforms. Look, hey, I'm trying to learn some things. Hey, CC, what's up, girl? How you doing? I appreciate you coming here. I'm kind of really letting people roll in, try to give it some time, see what's going on. Just got off work not too long ago, had some stuff go on. So just kind of letting people roll in. If you're first to joining me on any of these lives, my name's Kevin. I go by the Boot Nurse. I am a nurse and NCLEX coach, entrepreneur, businessman, whatever you want to call it. Today, we're going to talk about failure, just like how we talked about failure back on this past Wednesday. If you know of anybody or if you yourself need coaching for the NCLEX, go ahead and check out thebootnurse.com. I offer a 30-minute consultation, all that good stuff when it talks about the NCLEX. Make sure you guys grab your spots because those spots are filling up. And, your boy got kids, so sometimes he can't be jumping up and doing stuff all the time. So as promised, I have my NCLEX failures right here. I actually took a picture of them. And so what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to put them on the background so that everybody can see them. One thing about me is that I'm all about transparency. And if you guys don't know my story, make sure you guys go over to my YouTube channel. All of my social media handles, so that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, of course, TikTok and YouTube. Everything is at the Boot Nurse. And then, of course, we have thebootnurse.com. I have a video over there where I talked about failing the NCLEX. I also have a video over there about how I passed the NCLEX in 60 questions. So I'm all about transparency and telling people that I failed. I am not embarrassed to tell you that I failed. The reason why is because failure breeds success if you keep pushing, right? There's nothing more determined there's nothing better than a person that is determined. And I was determined to become a nurse, no matter how many times I failed this exam. I've met people that have failed this exam 9, 10 times, and they were so determined, and they still passed this exam. All right. So if you are one of those people that failed your exam or taking your exam and you're super nervous, that's okay. It's okay. It is normal. You are right where you are supposed to be. All right. And if you guys start getting value and you guys like everything that I'm saying and I'm spitting out of my mouth, make sure you guys throw me some follows, throw me some likes. I want to see all them hearts on the right side of this, whatever this thing is, just shooting up. All right. I want all the love. And then I'm going to tell you something right now. At some point, you're going to start to see me do this. I feel like it's a trademark. Maybe I should not a trademark, but maybe I should get a I don't know, like a picture on a shirt where I'm just like, hey, I'm starting to feel it. I'm starting to feel it. All right. So another thing is I'm going to try to do this on Instagram as well. So I have 2 phones. I got 2 phones. All right. So I'm going to try to do this with 2 phones. All right. And because some people that are on Instagram, they're so not wanting to do TikTok and for whatever reason and all that good jazz. So if they don't want to do TikTok, that's fine. And so, but anyways, so let me know where you guys are from. Let me know where you're from. Let me know where you are in your nursing journey. Let me know all of that stuff. I currently live in Texas. I'm a great old Texas boy. I currently live in San Antonio. Went to school down in a little further south Texas. Graduated with my nursing degree in 2018. Started working as a nurse and got my license in 2020. And I have been coaching nursing students ever since. A little bit of background about me is I am not active duty. I'm sorry. I have been in the military, specifically the Navy, for 15 years. I was a surgical tech. I've been deployed twice. My last 8 years of active duty service were teaching. So I taught 3.5 years in a surgical technology program, and then I spent the next 3.5 years teaching a different variety of courses. A tactical combat casualty care course, pre-hospital trauma life support, And then just recently over the last 2 years, I'm a trauma nursing core course instructor as well. And I've been doing that for a while. Once you learn how to teach and you understand how to teach, they're all relatively the same. But anyways, but yeah, that's a little bit of background about me. Why I am a coach and for NCLEX is because I never want anybody to feel how I felt ever. Like I know for a fact that I can't convince people to do stuff, but I know that deep down in my heart that I never want anybody to feel how I felt. I don't want anyone to ever feel that that they're lost or that they're alone or that they're the only one who has suffered from this type of issue of not being successful. I never want anybody to feel that. So that's why I have created the coaching. That's why I have started to be more open with my with this platform. Like so many people have messaged me and told me thank you. So I feel like, it's working in some way, shape and fashion to where, like, let me just try to instill whatever I can into people who are ready to be there. So I'm going to answer a question. Somebody asked me a question. Oh, what state am I in? Yep, I'm in Texas. I specifically live in San Antonio. I'm preparing to take the next generation NCLEX. So the next generation NCLEX actually isn't all that terrible. Hindsight's 2020. I'm saying that because I've been a nurse for 3 years. I've worked in critical care. I worked in the ICU for a year. Now I currently work in the operating room. And it's easy for me to say that, it's not hard, but what the NCLEX is trying to teach you is how to critically think. Nursing is moving in a very positive direction, very, very fast. And so and the responsibility of a nurse is actually widening. So in order to keep up with that, the NCLEX had to be able to change. Now, it's not changing in the caliber of questions that, people are so afraid of. It's changing in the way that the information is being delivered. So now they're giving case studies. They're giving, with those case studies, highlights and fill in the blanks and drop downs. Select all and apply that. They haven't changed except for the simple fact that they are now going to be partial credit. They want to know, can you critically think as a nurse? Like if I give you a scenario based off of, a patient that comes in with a certain issue, do you know the first thing or the best thing that you could do for them? Do you know the sequence of steps of how to take care of that patient? So don't be, I know that you're preparing for the NCLEX or the next generation NCLEX. Don't be afraid of it. It's about to be our new norm. Starting April 1st, 2023. It's not a game. It's not a joke. No April Fool's here. It's actually kind of funny that they decided to do it that way. I think it's just because most people, you can't take your exam on a Saturday, I think. So yeah, there's that. So good luck to you on preparing for the next generation NCLEX. I think I already know that you're going to do well. My personal position is to take it as soon as possible. Take it as soon as you possibly can. Absolutely. 100%. I would agree. Especially if you're one of those people who just graduated school, all that information hopefully should be fresh in your mind.
You need to unlock your Mac first.
First of all, Siri be over here just doing her own thing. Ain't nobody talk to her. She over here telling me to update my MacBook. Ain't nobody listening to her. I'm talking to y'all. So once again, if you guys just joined the live stream, my name's Kevin. I'm a nurse. I go by the boot nurse. I'm an NCLEX coach. We're talking about failure today, and we're talking about how you're going to progress. And I'm also going to talk about, my failures. I'm all about being transparent. I got 3 of these bad boys. 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to go over them. And I'm going to show you how to break them down, and I'm going to show you how you can actually, kind of create a study calendar for yourself. So that way you can figure out where you didn't do well if you failed. And also figure out where you don't do well if you're ready to take the exam. You could do that, or when you're about to sit to take the exam. So if you're a first timer, then hey, if I'm not doing well in pharmacology, maybe I should front load pharmacology first, learn that for an additional half hour or so, and then go on to do something else. Okay, so we'll talk about those coming up soon. I'm gonna look at you guys' stuff. I've taken it once already and failed. I was below in 2 categories. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Let me find my first one. My very first one, I was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 below in a lot of those categories. So I'm there with you. So the first thing I'm going to tell you, who is that? Carly Black 4, is those spots that you were below. Spend a little bit of extra time looking at those. So for example, management of care. Management of care makes up 17 to 23% of that entire exam. The biggest section, right? So if management of care was your spot, I would suggest starting there. Stable versus unstable. Who do you see first? Those best questions, so on and so forth. What percentage of is the test next gen? All of it's next gen. The formats, all of it's next gen. That's all it means. Like the caliber of questions are still going to be there. They're still going to ask you select all that apply. They're still going to ask you multiple choice. The next gen is just an updated version. That's it. And then give you more, delivering it to you in a different way. We back, baby. Hey, shout out to Big Weather. Hey, I don't know if you guys know who Big Weather is, but he and I work together. He's a surgical first assist, so he helps surgeons in surgery. And he's America's first assist, kind of like, we're Captain America and or not Civil War, but whatever. That's America's ass. He is America's first assist, so he's probably going to be like, you're welcome, blah, 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 whatever. So, hey, shout out to him. I passed the first time, no feedback, but I guess peds as, you passed the first time. Well, congratulations. I'm glad you passed. No feedback, but I guess peds as I had a ton of questions on that. So peds, I can tell you right now, me specifically, what do I do? For me, when I took the NCLEX peds, maternal newborn pharmacology, and pharmacology, were the worst. Like, those were the worst things on the planet for me. And I couldn't grasp little people. I couldn't grasp it. But then, of course, like me studying it a little bit more, eliminating those distractions, looking at all the information that was available to me, I was able to finally understand it. After looking at it for so long, you can like, what is it? Like, no news is good news type deal. Like, after a while, there's only a certain amount of ways that they can ask you a question. And after a while, you're like, oh, I know what they're asking, especially when it comes to peds. Do you do coaching for nursing school? Unfortunately, I do coaching specifically for NCLEX at the moment. So, but I just like, if this is your first time to the live stream, just like anytime, if anybody ever has a question, you can always reach me and message me on Instagram. You can always send me an email. I've had people send me emails, ask me questions. People comment on my YouTube channel. People message me on Facebook, like I said, all my social media handles are at the Boot Nurse. Like, there's nobody that checks all my social medias but me. So I'm a one-man show. I do pretty much all of this by myself. So, if you ever have a question about what's happening in nursing school, who is at Forever 1-1430, then hey, I have no problem answering those things. I've talked to plenty of people that have been in nursing school. I'm also a preceptor, so I precept nursing students like that are in nursing school. And I'm one of those people that I'm very, very raw. I'm very, very informative, and I'm not with bullshit. So I'll tell you about nursing school. I'll tell you about yourself. All right. So, cashing checks and shaving necks. This guy, I can't, not even with this guy. So yeah, pharmacology is a monster, Carly. It's a monster. Peds is like a different world. Peds is not like a different world. It is a different world. Just like labor and delivery. One time I walked into labor and delivery, and I thought I was in a new hospital. It's like walking into, it's kind of like where, where the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean, like, they have different salt concentration, so you can see the split. It's kind of like that. Two totally different. One's murky and one's clear as day. So that's kind of how it was. Okay. So how to enroll in your boot camp. So I don't actually have a boot camp. I just have it to where it's just one-on-one coaching. So if you go to thebootnurse.com, and you'll see all over the page where it says, book your 30-minute consultation. Just go in there, put your name, put your email, and then after that, it'll say, hey, you've successfully, just follow the prompts, and it'll take you all the way there. That's for Carly. I'm sorry that what I was referring to just the NCLEX. Oh, so Forever 21. I'm sorry. Forever 21 or 20. Isn't that a clothing store? Look, I don't even do anything like that. But anyways, so yeah. To answer your question for NCLEX, if you're in a nursing school and you're preparing for NCLEX, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. All right. So if you guys are just joining, my name is Kevin. I go by the Boot Nurse. I'm an NCLEX coach. I'm a nurse. We're talking about failure today. We were actually just talking about coaching and all kinds of other stuff. If you guys know anybody, or if you yourself need coaching preparing for the NCLEX, whether you're a nursing student, you are already graduated, or if you're taking the exam multiple times, check out thebootnurse.com. And there is some slots on there for you to, to do 30-minute consultation, all that good stuff. And if you guys are liking value, make sure you guys are smashing that like button, share it, let everybody know that we're out here doing this. All right. So I want to tell you guys a story about somebody who failed. Somebody recently, actually one of my students. And I take all the things about when people fail very near and dear to my heart, because like if you invest in yourself and I give it my all and you give it your all and you're still unsuccessful, that stuff like that still bothers me. It's like, if you're unsuccessful, I'm unsuccessful, because now we have to go back to the drawing board to see why and how some things just didn't work out for you. So this individual didn't make it on their their third or fourth time. And that bothers me. It bothers me is because I want you to be successful. I want for you to pass that exam. I don't want you to go what I went through. But unfortunately, this is life, and that's what happened. This person's really down in the dumps. And all I could do is just spit positivity at somebody. That's all I can do. Because in reality, I know that's all I would want. I used to get positivity spit at me from people who weren't even nurses. But it just didn't feel the same, because it's like they pity you. And I don't like people to pity. I don't need your pity party, right? And I told her, I was just like, hey, I understand how you feel. I understand exactly how you feel. I understand what you're going through. But I'm going to tell you right now. And I was just like, you were right where you were supposed to be. You don't want to fail. You don't want to fail. Nobody wants to fail. But let me tell you something. There's nothing like a warrior's journey. Doesn't matter if you're a man or if you're a woman. Go out there and tell them, yeah, I failed it. Oh, man, if I would have failed it one time, I would have quit. Okay. I know what type of person that you are. You do it once and you try it and you forget it. Okay. Would you try and quit on somebody's life that you're trying to save? Probably not. I hope not. You better keep doing those chest compressions until we know that we can't do it. We're going to try every avenue that we possibly can. If I have any nurses that have been in here that have done a code blue, or any CNAs or anybody that's been a part of a code blue, you guys know that we do every avenue possible to keep this person alive. And I've done CPR we've done a code as long as an hour, So failure is a part of your journey. It is a part of the journey. Now, here's the question. How do you want to continue that journey? Do you want to stop it right there after a failure? Or do you want to figure out why? You want to figure out why. All right. So that's what we're going to talk about. She didn't do well. And I told her, I was just like, I'm going to allow for you to feel this way because it's a genuine reaction. And I was like, but you're going to get your 24 hours. And then after that, we're going back to the drawing board. And I say we. It's always a we. It doesn't matter who you are. Because if you're here, just know that you have a support system within me and now within this community, right? And I'm trying to build that community, just like I'm trying to build a community of positivity of, the whole thought process of where the nurse eat their young. Not a fan of it. Never will I ever be a fan of it. And if anybody tries to do stuff like that, hey, trust me, I'm the one to bite back. I'm the one to bite back because you're not going to treat me like I'm not out here trying to learn and like you don't already got years of experience on me. No. I don't. Nope. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to pull up one of these worksheets. Let me see if I can pull it up. See if it pulls up. Oh, will it let me do it? Oh, I can't shrink it. Can I shrink it? Probably not. Let me see if I can get out of the way. All right. So some of y'all can see that, right? So I'm going to try to read it. This was back, when was this? Let's see, this was in 2019. So I don't want this one. I don't want this one per se. Let me go back and let me find the other one. So maybe it's this one. 1026. Yeah, so this was my very first NCLEX, right? Look at that. Y'all see all those belows? The first below was management of care. Remember, I told you management of care makes up 17 to 23% of the exam, and I got below. Remember, the exam is about here. Let me see if y'all can see me. The exam is here. When you hit below, that means you're here. If anything that is near, that means you're like right about here. And then of course, anything that's a passing, you'll see that it's above, right? And you can see down there that I got above passing on basic care and comfort, right? That's the only one that I got above. And then you see pharmacology below. Risk and reduction and physiological adaptation towards the bottom are near passing, right? So here's one thing I'm going to tell you. And this is the very first one right here. Sorry, I know it keeps jumping in and out, but right here, when it comes to studying, always when it comes to studying, the ones that you got below are the ones that you need to focus on. And and when I say focus, I don't mean focus all your time on them. I mean to take an extra hour looking at these areas. Management of care. Think about what management of care consists of. Think about it. Inbox us if you're ready to succeed through your NCLEX exam, be an RN or PN. Hey, so here's another thing. I got 20 people in this room. So if you guys start getting stuff like this, where it's like, hey, inbox us, and you know they trying to say, hey, pay for leaked exams and all this other trash, don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. Don't let people like that. Jump into your DMs and try to scam you. Right? Take the time. Study what you're trying to do and make it through. All right. Don't try to take shortcuts, because you try to take a shortcut, it's going to come back and it's going to bite you, aka Operation Nightingale. And we got hashtag freaking fake nurses. OK, don't do it to yourself. All right. So that's my first NCLEX. And this is my breakdown. Notice here's the transparency right here. Here's the transparency right here. I wish I could make it bigger. I don't know. I mean, I wish I could make it smaller, but I don't know how to make it smaller. But there it is, right? And I'm going to keep it up there, and I'm going to sit here and talk about it. And then after that, I'm going to put up my second one. Does the NCLEX pass rate based off of state or national pass rate? So the NCLEX pass rate is, they actually have different breakdowns where it's by state, as well as where it's by, they have a national average. Your school actually has an average. It's a yearly average. They don't do it quarterly or anything like that, but it's a yearly average. So it does it by school, it does it by state, and they'll do it on the national average as well. So I hope that answers your question. I wish I could see your name. Oh, Hot Buttery Popcorn. Hey, I'm not even gonna lie. That's pretty ball ass name. So, but, let me see if I can do that on here. Okay. Is UWorld beneficial? So here's the thing about UWorld. So UWorld could be benefit. So I don't talk down on reviews out there unless I know these reviews are absolute trash. You're welcome, hot buttery pie. I want to say hot buttery love, but close enough. So, but Madison, to answer your question, UWorld is beneficial if you do not need content. And here's why I say that. UWorld provides questions, answers, rationales. Right? Nothing wrong with that. You may only need that. And if that's only what you need, then by all means, there are reviews that are out there that you could use. I have used UWorld like 2 or 3 times. However, UWorld for me did not work because I needed content. I had a content deficit. I had a content gap. And that is where my passion and where my love is with content. I can create questions all day, every day. But if you don't understand the content, it's going to be very hard, damn near almost impossible for you to really articulate and understand what these questions are asking you. And I've seen people out here saying like, hey, do this and, you'll be able to pass the NCLEX. And I'm just like, yeah, it takes a little bit more. Like, you pretty much summed it up, but it takes a little bit more work than that. It takes a lot more work than that for you to, to just pass the NCLEX. Some people are very good test takers, but a lot of people have test anxiety. Tons of people have test anxiety. And this exam is probably one of the most intimidating exams that I have ever taken, like in my adult life. Like nothing compared in high school. I didn't give a damn about no SAT or no ACT. I didn't care about none of that. This was probably the hardest exam I've ever taken in my life, and one that was very hard and expensive to prepare for. So there's that. If you guys are just joining me, my name is Kevin. I go by the Boot Nurse. We're talking about failure today. This is my NCLEX nursing exam breakdown, talking about the first time that I failed, letting you guys know that it's okay that if you fail, but it's not okay if you stay where you are to try and remain a failure, because I don't accept failures. I don't accept you coming into this live stream and you telling me, oh, I quit and I never went to it again. Tell me that you quit and watch me tell you, you need to, hey, You need to get that ass back in this book, and you need to go. You need to go and you need to pass. I'm gonna tell you, because people come up to me all the time. It's my dream to be a nurse. You guys ever heard that old saying? A dream without a goal is just a wish. You fail your exam and you quit. Well, that dream is exactly what it is, a dream, because you didn't do what you needed to do in order for you to conquer that exam. That's all I'm going to say. Anyways, like I said, if you're one of those people who needs help with NCLEX, if you're a nursing student about to take the NCLEX and graduate, if you've taken the exam multiple times, make sure you guys check out thebootnurse.com. That's where I offer a 30-minute coaching session for free. And then we talk about other things, your time management. We talk about study habits. We talk about accountability, which I'm huge about. We talk about all different types of things. All right. And then, make sure you guys follow me on all those social media platforms. I actually made a video talking about me failing the NCLEX, me being raw and vulnerable with the world. How many people do you know that will just outright tell you that they didn't pass this exam? People are embarrassed by it. Me, no part of me cares. No part of me cares because I beat myself up so much about it. But in the end, it really doesn't matter because I turned myself around to want to be here. You have to want to be here. You have to want to be a nurse. No one's going to give you that. No one's going to give you that degree at all. Like, no one's going to give you a license. No one's just going to give you a job. Like, you got to get out here. You see what I'm saying? Learn the best way you study. Absolutely. Learn the best. Some people are very good at listening to audios and it absorbs. It sticks. Some people are really good at reading a book. Let me tell you something. You put a book in front of my face, I want to fall asleep. I'm just saying, best way for you to fall asleep, open up that med-surg book and start reading and watch what happens, right? So, definitely, you gotta figure out what it is within yourself. Sometimes it's just like sitting here and having a conversation. And actually, here's another one. I'm gonna put you on game. I'm gonna put y'all on game. Hey, if you guys are finding value about what I'm dropping, I need for you guys to smash that like button. I want 1,000 likes. I don't know why I just yelled at y'all, but y'all know what's up. But anyways, I'm going to put y'all on game. There's two things. One thing that I would recommend is going to freaking finding a mentor. Even if the mentor is not me. Finding a mentor that is in the perspective area that you want to be as a nurse. So if you want to be a labor and delivery nurse, walk that happy ass to labor and delivery, either it's during clinicals or find you one on Instagram, find you one on TikTok, whatever. And especially if they're at your local hospital, ask if they can mentor you. Especially if they've been a nurse for anywhere from 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Like, they understand what it's like to have gone through what you're going through because it's recent. And when you do stuff like that, you kind of pick up on the things that they teach you. Because a lot of times a lot of those times, even though they work as a nurse, they teach you about all the things that they learned for themselves. Not everybody's a good teacher. So that's why I'm saying not all mentors are good mentors for you. So you have to find a mentor to where you want to be. That's it. I found a mentor for where I wanted to be. I wanted to be a nurse corps officer. I wanted to do ICU. I wanted to do CRNA. So I had one mentor who did all three. He did all three. So, you got to find those people. You got to lock into those people. All right. And that's what mentorship is all about. Even if the mentor isn't me, I'm a silent mentor. Just like I got silent mentors for everybody, for all the things that I want to do. If it's for nursing, if it's for education, if it's for a degree, if it's for business, if it's for real estate, doesn't matter. Find a mentor. Find you a mentor. Okay. I'm going to need for y'all to give me 1 second because what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to get this thing logged up onto freaking Instagram. But what I do want is I want for you guys to keep smashing that like button. And I want you guys to share this to as many nurses, right? A lot of y'all are nursing students right now that are all preparing for NCLEX right now. Share it to all those other people. Smash that like button. I want 1,000. I want 1,000 out here. Y'all let me know where y'all are. Let me know what state y'all are in. Let me know where y'all are at in your nursing journey. I want to interact with y'all. I want to go back and forth. I want us to have a conversation. What does it say? Amy says, I personally can't study in a group. You're right. Here's the thing. When you for NCLEX is an individual thing. And a lot of times I try to tell people is to study by yourself individually. Now, when you're in nursing school, I'll flat out tell you, get you a group of people. And by a group, I mean you and 3 other people to make it 4. 5 at the max. 5 at the max. Because if it starts getting any bigger than 4 or 5 people, they're going to start talking about what they did this weekend. They're going to start talking about whatever dude or girl that they're dating, who they saw at the bar the night before, if they're playing Hogwarts Legacy, whatever. That last part, that's what I tell people about. Hey, don't lie. Hey, I just went to Disney World and I bought a wand for $67. Don't judge me. That's my guilty pleasure, and I will enjoy it. Damn it. Okay. So, yeah, y'all let me know where y'all from. Florida, passed my NCLEX last month. Hey, I'm super proud of you. Very, very happy that you passed your NCLEX. So here's another thing that I love to tell people, because I'm all about giving back. If you pass your NCLEX, I don't care if it's your first time or your 10th time, and when you start working, you better start mentoring people. Be a preceptor. Take people under your wing. That way, they don't go through what you felt like you went through. Period. Period, boo. Okay. That was embarrassing. I probably won't ever do that again. Anyways, so let's keep going. I'm in Georgia waiting to take my test in May. Georgia. Go ahead, girl. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, you're taking yours in May? Hey, we're going to wish you nothing but the best, because you're going to go out there and you're going to conquer and you're going to kill that exam. I expect nothing less. We're all about speaking things into existence here. Words of affirmation. I feel like what I give to the universe is going to give back to me. All right. So we wish you nothing but the best, Miss Georgia. You're going to get there. Jody, you're in New York, studying to take the NCLEX. Hey, shout out to you, Jody. Shout out to the NY. My grandma lives in New York. She lives in Harlem. So, prepare for that NCLEX. All right. Make sure you go out there and you kill it. You give it all that you can. Okay. I helped RN 32 years. Hey, shout out to you. Shout out to you, ma'am. Shout out to you. 32 years. Lord of mercy. But that's the one thing I love is when I get nurses, especially, veteran nurses that are in here that support the movement of trying to bring up the profession, because we're the only ones in our nursing field. We're the only ones that can take care of one another and to keep this field going in the direction that it's going. There's a reason why we have nurses that are lobbyists that are in Washington, D.C. changing laws to allow for nurse practitioners to practice independently. There is a reason why nursing is going in that direction. It's because we have to take care of one another. We have to push this field in the direction that we want it to go. And my goal is to get nurses that are in nursing school to pass that NCLEX on their first attempt or on their next attempt. And not only to go out there to, work bedside or wherever that you want to go, but to also let you know that you got options, baby. You got options out here. Don't let these nursing schools tell you that you got to only work bedside. Those days are over. They are over. You feel me? So I'm just saying, y'all got options out here, and we're all about progressing. We're all about going this, even if it's at a steady incline. Steady incline is good. And that's the direction that we're going. Failed on my 3rd attempt, and I'm scared because I don't know what else to study. Well, this is what I'll tell you. Hey, you see these 3? Who is that? Is that JD7? Look, JD7. You see these 3 times right here? JD? All right. So you don't know what else to study? I'm not trying to be that dude, but I need for you to open this up. And I need for you to go back to the drawing board, and I need you to find out why. I need you to find out why you weren't successful. Here's the thing. What was happening to you in your life at those moments that were a distraction? You'd be so surprised. If it's not work, if it's not kids, if it's not a wife or a husband, if it's not, and you'd be so surprised. Like passing this NCLEX, it is not just about this test. Trust and believe me when I tell you it is not just about this test, okay? 3rd attempt, all right. The only thing I want to hear come from you is when is attempt number 4, because we pushing, baby. That's what we doing. All right, JD, keep going. I'm in PA waiting to take my PN. Hey, shout out to you. Is that Deneen 712? Hey, keep pushing that PN. Hey, practical nurse. You still a nurse, still nursing the title. Don't let these people be out here and be crazy. And hey, and all these LPNs that are out here, y'all ain't got to be mean. Okay? Some of y'all be out here mean and salty. I get it. But be nice. All right? Be nice. 100. LOL. Take my test next Friday. I'm super nervous. It's okay for you to be nervous. It's normal for you to be nervous. Conquer being nervous. All right. Know that the way that you've prepared to take your exam is the way that your exam is going to be. If you've been sitting in front of this computer practicing the way that you should have been practicing, you're going to go in there and you're going to murder it. You're going to go in there and you're going to murder it. Registered Beauty, you are welcome, ma'am. JD, Florida, need tips on how to study. Just failed 3 times. Yep, I just talked to you. Jody, talking to him. Or talking to her, I'm sorry. I need to take it again for the 5th time. Okay. Was that lovely D18? Take it again for the 5th time. Go. Get your breakdowns. Get your breakdowns and figure it out. Think about it. Think about all the 5 ways that you were studying. I'm gonna be completely raw with y'all. The first time I took this exam, I didn't study. I've been in the Navy for so long. I've been a hospital corpsman. I was a surgical tech. I was an instructor. You couldn't tell me nothing. You couldn't tell me anything about studying because I knew. Because corpsmen are equivalent to LVNs, just without licenses, because we can perform all the stuff that LVNs can do. And then some. Because that's just kind of how the government works. Or how the military works. So, when they were telling me about Foley catheters, not me being a surgical tech saying, you're doing that wrong, right? That didn't work. Because I was so hard-headed, and I was bringing all the real world into a perfect world. And that is what hurt me. And that is what hurt my pockets. So, you need to go back and you need to see why. What review were you using? Do you need a mentor? Do you need coaching? Some people are just, here's one thing I always tell people is instead of saying that you're going to buy something, invest in something, right? Most people will invest. When I say invest, you do a lot of more, hopefully you do more research in what you invest in. So if you're going to invest in stocks or if you're going to invest in real estate, we as most people have an emotional connection to money. So what you're going to do is that before you put money into anything, you are going to do research into what your money is going to go into. That's what I call investing. So instead of telling you buying coaching or you buying somebody's program or you buying UWorld or whatever, invest in a nursing NCLEX, some type of review, because now they're giving you all the tools for you to be successful. Now you have to jump into those tools and use them correctly. And if you don't know how to use them correctly, reach out to them and reach out to somebody who can help guide you in that direction. I don't care if you failed 5 times. I don't care if you failed 15 times. No job will ever ask you how many times you failed your exam. They're not going to come up to you and be like, hey, lovely D18. I know that's not your name, but they're like, hey, lovely D18. Huh. How many times did you take the NCLEX? No employer's going to care about that. No director's going to care about that. No one's going to care about that unless you forfeit that information. Period. No one's going to care except for you. But when you have a job and you're working as an RN, no one's going to care. Period. All right? Just keep that in mind. I don't do that. I'll be a guinea pig for these students. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Be a guinea pig. Like, let them start IVs on you. You better than me. Because if you miss me and start fishing, we're going to have a problem, right? I don't know who this Cindy 4302 is, where they're talking about, interest in passing your NCLEX, yada, yada, yada. Y'all beware of scammers, please. Just beware of scammers. I haven't moved this person out because I just don't want to. Work on your content. Yes, yep. Be that dude. Yep. Kids and life. That's right. 4th attempt. Hey, 4th attempt. 5th attempt. I don't care how many attempts. You make it happen. My dad made my mom wait in the parking lot during his NCLEX. Hey. We have that support system that's right there for you. Like, hey, let me tell you how it happened. That's how it goes, right? Ooh, how much is the NCLEX? It depends. It depends on the state, because when you pay for the NCLEX, you have to apply through your state board of nursing, and then you have to pay for Pearson VUE. So Pearson VUE, I think, is like $200, and I live in Texas, so the application through them is $100, so it's $300 a pop every single time. PACE, that's for PAs. Yeah, that's expensive. That's a lot. That's a lot. And then when you become a nurse, RN, and when you want to get a certification, like if you try CCRN or CNOR, or if you're trying to be a med-surg certified nurse or a PACU, like those tests are expensive too. $700 up to $1,000. Like, it get crazy out here. Oh, interesting. Our PAs is national, and then we apply through the state. Yeah. So the NCLEX itself is a national exam. However, the exam, it's. Let me see how I can articulate this. The exam itself is the national exam. You're very welcome. The exam itself is a national exam. However, in order for Pearson VUE to know that you have been vetted and you have gone through an accredited organization, such as your nursing school, you have to apply through them. Like, I had to apply through the Texas Board of Nursing. The Texas Board of Nursing then sends it to Pearson VUE. Then Pearson VUE is just like, oh, okay, he went to that school, he graduated. Oh, okay, let me send him his authorization to test, because the Texas Board of Nursing has vetted him or has approved that he has gone through the proper channels to take this exam, right? Hence why that hashtag fake nursing thing that was going on in Florida has been such a big deal, because there's so many checks and balances that are in place to, like, how do these people take this exam? But then you have other people who went to schools that were not accredited, but they were working on their accreditation, lost their accreditation, or didn't meet the criteria, but we're still putting people through their programs and stuff like that. So it's wild. It's wild out here. I'm gonna change this. I'm going to change it. You guys want to see a really cute picture? I'm going to show you. Look at that dude. Look at that dude right there. Y'all look at him. That's my son. Y'all see that dude? Y'all see him? Oh, Gap, light-skinned ass little boy. No, let me tell you about this little boy. This little boy right here has changed my life a lot. A lot. Like, I have gone through some shit to include, just a lot of stuff, to include divorce, houses, anxiety, mental stuff, just a lot of stuff. And this little child right here is just the reason why I push, and I continue to want to push y'all, because I want him to know that you can be impactful to people. Like, my job as a father and as a man is to guide him, period. Is to guide him. And if I can guide him, why can't I guide anybody else? Right? It's all about the reach. I promise you that. All right. Look at that little boy right there, boy. I tell you. Oh my God. Oh my God. Y'all haven't heard him cry yet. I'm just saying. So he literally was at my door just banging on it. I'm surprised you guys didn't hear it. Anyways, if you guys are new here, my name is Kevin. I go by the Boot Nurse. I am a nurse. I am an NCLEX coach. We were talking about failure. I actually just had my freaking NCLEX failure up on the screen, and we were talking about it, and we were talking about breaking it down. Shout out to who is that? Yeah, I don't want to mess it all up. Is it Yankee? Shout out to you. Thank you. I appreciate the rose. You're really sweet. Thank you so much for that. And thank you. He is a cutie, but he bad. God, he turns 1 next week on the 29th. So there's that. But anyways, like I said, my name is Kevin. I'm a nurse. I'm an NCLEX coach. We're talking about failure. If you know anybody who is studying for their NCLEX, either they'll be in nursing school or if they're taking their exam multiple times, you guys can check out my website, thebootnurse.com. I offer a 30-minute consultation, as well as we talk about packaging and all that other good stuff. We talk about time management, accountability, your study tactics, your study habits. Do you have a good support system? If you don't, welcome to it, baby. We right here. All right. And so, so we're all about that. All right. And we were talking about failure. I was talking about specifically how I had one of my students who failed just recently. It was their 4th attempt. And I am not the person I'm all about the motivation. I know that you're going to sit here and you're going to probably wallow in all your sorrows, but I'm going to let you have your 24 hours of wallowing in your sorrows. Because the next day I'm going to be like, we're pushing. And I'm a very regimented individual. Like I said, for those that don't know, I've been in the Navy for 15 years. And, I'm a very regimented person. And we don't quit. We don't quit. There's a reason why we're the most powerful military on the planet. And that's no lie. And there's a reason why we do things the way that we do them. It's because we push. We get through it. You get stuck. Like, we all embrace the suck together, as we say, right? And if it sucks, it sucks, but guess what? We're going to push. If we're in a dirty ass hole somewhere and we got to go take that mountain, you best believe somebody back here giving orders is going to tell you to go take that mountain by any means necessary. That mountain is at NCLEX. That mountain up there. That's at NCLEX. All right. That mountain is conquering that NCLEX and becoming an RN. And then as soon as you get to that tippy top of that mountain, you realize that there's 4 or 5 other mountains that are 10 times taller that are over there. Becoming an RN is just the beginning. It is just the beginning. Trust me when I tell you. I saw somebody in here. There's nurses that have been in here that are 20, that have been 30 years nurses. Right here, who is this? Emma. She's from VA. She's been 40 years as a nurse. 40 years as a nurse. Hey, ladies, let them know. Let everybody in here know that as soon as they get this nursing license, that is the beginning. That is the beginning of just climbing up a hill. That is your entire career. All right. Remember that nursing, that NCLEX is testing the basic of knowledge, the fundamentals of nursing. Can you practice as a safe nurse? That's what they want to know. And that's the bare minimum. The bare minimum. Nursing school, hindsight's 2020. Nursing school is harder than taking the NCLEX. Nursing, you want to know why? The NCLEX maximum is 5 hours. Nursing school, year, 2 years, 3 years. Some of you who started going to university and were there for all 4 years. You know what I'm saying? 4 years. You prepare for 4 years to sit to take an exam for 2 hours. You tell me what's harder. The endurance of going through school, feeling like you're going to fail and X, Y, and Z? Or is it sitting there for 2 hours, thinking about all the knowledge that you acquire? And then becoming an RN or an LPN. Whichever field of nursing study that you decided that you wanted to go into. Nothing wrong with that at all. So shout out to Emma. Thank you for joining. 40 years as a nurse, y'all. So we got knowledge in here. Hey, if you guys have any questions or anything, drop them down in the comments. If you guys know good study tips, good videos, drop them down in the comments. We're all about creating a positive and encouraging community around here. That nurses eat their young shit does not fly in my comment section. It does not fly in my community, right? If you're going to critique somebody, it needs to be constructive criticism. All right. This is how I know that not everybody knows how to teach. Period. Not everybody knows how to teach. So shout out to Emma for joining. How do you know if you're ready to take the exam? You don't. Who is that? Amara. Well, I'm just going to say Amari, 23. How do you know? Well, put it this way. If you've been studying if you've been studying for the amount of time that you've been studying, regardless, you're going to be nervous. Regardless, you're going to feel like you're not going to know everything. And that's another thing. You're not supposed to know everything on this exam. Period. The exam is not meant for you to know. It's for you to be familiar about what's being put in front of you. I've been a nurse for 3 years. But if you put me in labor and delivery, I hold my hand out like I'm a quarterback ready to catch this baby, right? You know, or if you put me like in the pediatric ICU, then I'll be like, because I've worked in a burn ICU, a neuro, and a medical ICU, so I can work my way around there. You can put me in the operating room. I can work my way around there. Put me in the cath lab, maybe a little bit lost. So. You know, stuff like that. So how do you know when you're ready? You don't. So you always prepare. Always prepare. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. Hi, do you do 30 minutes early in the morning? So unfortunately, I have a job and I have to be up at like 5 or 4:30 sometimes. And I got to be there by 6 and I got to circulate and scrub in and do stuff like that. And so I don't do them early in the morning. They're usually done late afternoon towards the evening times. So if you go on to my website and you're trying to book a 30-minute consultation or anything like that, whatever is available at this moment. It's usually any time from 7 to 9 o'clock. 7 to 10 o'clock, on Central Standard Time. I say Texas time because, we're the United States of Texas. No, I'm just playing. But seriously. But yeah, I don't do them early in the morning. My plan is to start doing them early in the morning. Actually, I want to start doing them on the weekends earlier, depending on what the census is and depending on what I have going on. So, father, family guy. So just trying to make all this work while still trying to take care of them. So, father first. But yes, Eventually, there will be times. And actually, I'm going to start doing group coaching sessions. So that way I can get at least 10 of y'all in there at once. And we can start, we start bouncing ideas off of one another. Okay. So, CC, I hope that answers your question. No lies told. Yes, ma'am. Woo, no lie. That's what I'm talking about. Simple Nursing. Simple Nursing is really, really great. I love his YouTube channel, Nurse Mike. Shout out to him. He's probably never, ever going to see this. But if y'all ever see him, tell him that I want to be on his channel. All right. So, but his pharmacology videos, love them. They're great, especially his cardiac ones. I use his cardiac YouTube channel or cardiac videos for YouTube. It was the bee's knees. It was good. What should one do the day before the exam? Oh, I'm glad you. So who is this? Miss Missy 218. Go over to my YouTube channel. First of all, I got 43 people in here. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube, my Facebook, and my Instagram, and you ain't follow me on TikTok, what are you doing with your life? Anyways, y'all better make sure y'all do that. That's number one. Number two, go over to my YouTube. I actually have a video of the things to do before the NCLEX. Like it's like a 5-minute video. It's going to answer whatever question that you have. And if I don't answer that question in that video, come back over here. Come back over here and we'll all answer it together. Nexus Nursing. I personally never use Nexus Nursing. However, I looked at their YouTube channel. Great. Fantastic. Simple Nursing for content. Absolutely. Like that dude, like Simple Nursing, nursing.com, Picmonic, Remar Nursing, Kaplan, Hearst. Those are all wonderful, UWorld, Archer. Those are all like reviews that I look up to, right? So those are all like I could recommend any one of them. But remember, I could give you everything. But if you don't apply it, then all that content is worth for nothing. All right? So hopefully that answers something for you. What does it mean when you fail in 145 questions? It means that you failed at 145 questions. That's what that means. And I don't mean to be an asshole about that, but that just means that you failed at 145 questions. But I'm assuming you want a deeper answer, so I'll give you one. So essentially, the minimum questions is 75 questions. So what'll happen is the exam will be like, all right, cool, we're going to let her go on. Because essentially for people that are at 145 questions, if you go all the way, you go the distance, like Rocky, like some analogies I've said before. If this is the line, you've been doing this, like, let me see. You've been like teetering, like down here, above, down here, above, down here, down here, down here. So probably essentially your last 5 to 10 questions kept you under the passing line. That's what that meant. So I can almost bet you that when you get your breakdown of you failing at 145 questions, it's going to look like it's going to say damn near almost near passing on everything. That's what it's going to say. I can almost guarantee that. Like literally, I had when I took my exam on the third time, I had 2 below passing, everything else near. Everything else near, right? And the thing about having these papers, if you go from everything being below to everything being near, that is progression. That is going up. But people are just like, I still failed. Yeah, but you're growing. You're growing. That's what that means, growth. We're all about growth. Imagine if I put a tree in the backyard and then next thing you know, I have I planted a tree tomorrow and I had a full tree in the back. I'm like, bro, you just destroyed my foundation. How the hell you get here, right? So you gotta respect the process. You gotta respect the growth of what's happening here. Okay, you gotta respect it. I learn from new grads all the time. Y'all have all the fresh knowledge. That's right, because sometimes these older nurses, they're not in the books like the older nurses are not in the books like the younger nurses are. I'm in the books all the time because I love to teach and I love to be here and I love to try to give everybody as much information as possible. But she's 100% right about that. What advice would you give to somebody who hasn't been in school for almost 15 years and wants to pursue what? Royal chocolate tea. You want to pursue what? Nursing? My suggestion to you is that if you haven't been to school in 15 years and you want to pursue nursing, that extensive research needs to be done on your part in order for you to get to that goal that you want to. It doesn't, just because you've been out of school for 15 years doesn't mean you can't accomplish this of being a nurse. People make it seem like it's so hard to become a nurse. It's really not. you go through the same thing that every other nurse went through before you, and things just get updated. Same thing if you want to be a doctor. It doesn't change. You got to go to undergrad. You got to get into med school. You got to do your 4 years of med school. Then you figure out what type of doctor you want to be. Then you do internship, residency. Then you go out there and you be a doctor. The sequence doesn't change for nursing. You got to figure out what school you want to go to. Make sure it's accredited. Please make sure that it's accredited. Do the prerequisites, apply for the school, get into the school, do everything that the school tells you to do, graduate, take the NCLEX, become a nurse. The sequence doesn't change. I hope that answers your question. Chocolate tea. Hey, that's hilarious. I'm not going to lie to you. That's a really good name. Yes, Nexus Nurse is great. She helped me a lot. I failed my NCLEX first attempt, and I'm so scared to take it again and fail. Okay. Who is this? I'm terrible with names. I'm trying my best, y'all. But you took your exam the first time. You're scared to take it again and fail. Okay. So you're going to take it again. And if you do fail. So here's the thing is that if you failed the first time, look at your breakdown. See why you didn't do well. I bet you if I was to do a coaching call with you right now and sit and talk to you for 15 minutes, I would already know what the issue is. You want to know why? Most people have the same issue. I didn't study. I used to come home from work and be like, I'm going to study, and I take a nap. I fall asleep. Knocked out. Knocked out all over the place, right? So if I'm knocked out all over the place, how much study am I getting? Or I sit on the couch, I turn the TV on, put it on mute, and I'm sitting on the couch trying to study, got my phone, and that's what the biggest culprit is that damn phone. Because you're on TikTok, you're on Instagram, you're on TikTok right now because you need to be here. You need to be here talking to me, and you need me to do this for you. I just got real aggressive. I appreciate y'all being with me. Make sure y'all go follow me. Smash that like button. I want 700,000 likes in the next 30 seconds. Spam it. Do it. All right. So what you're going to do is that you're going to get your breakdown. You're going to get your breakdown, and you're going to see where you didn't do well at. And then you are going to adapt from that, and you're going to progress. If you get this and there's no progression, it's a test. It's a test. Here's one of the things. This is years of therapy talking to y'all right now. Okay. If you failing is the worst thing that could happen, I think that's okay. This is somebody who's been deployed twice, who's been to a war-stricken country, and who has seen people who have gone miles to get water, fresh water that you turn on to brush your teeth, water that you let run for 5 minutes while you sit on the toilet on your phone. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. All right. I give the tough love. You want to know why? Because the tough love was given to me. So if you failed on your first attempt, you better figure out why, and you better adjust, and you better push. All right. This is nothing but love coming to you. I promise you. I promise you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Are you familiar with NCLEX High Yield? So I actually follow him, Dr. Z. I know that he's super, super content heavy, Miss Missy. So, but I have never used him. A lot of people have told me about him, and they like it because it's super content heavy. And I'm all about content, acquiring that knowledge so you can apply it towards the questions. I love it. I love it. I love it. I personally haven't heard anything bad about Dr. Z and Nurse High Yield. Before we start the one-on-one tutoring, will you look over my test scores? I can look over your test scores during the tutoring. No big deal. Just have them with you. How do you prioritize when a question asks, what med do you give first? Okay. So when it comes to medications, and I know I see like 35 messages down here. I promise I'm going to try to get to all of them. All right. But I still want to keep it on the task at hand. And we're talking about failure. All right. And I don't want you guys to forget about that because I got 3 of them I want to talk about. All right. And I want y'all to see the progression. But when it comes to prioritization, first of all, you need to understand what the question is asking you. You pay more attention to the modifying phrase than the original noun, especially if it's a first or if it's a best question. Like if I have a patient you have a 65-year-old patient that has congestive heart, you are the nurse getting report from the offgoing ER nurse. What patient should you see first? Okay. So the modifying phrase is telling me, who do I need to see first? Who do I see first? If I don't see them, they're going to die. So it's just like the same with medication. You got to look at the patient, and then you got to realize, okay, what type of medication? I don't know if you guys can hear him, but he's saying dad at the door. So that's kind of scared me. But you have to realize, okay, does this medication fit the ailment that the patient has, right? Congestive heart failure, fluid on the body, peripheral edema. Okay, what type of med do I want to give them? Do I want to give them a calcium channel blocker? Probably not. Do I want to give them Lasix or a loop diuretic, a K-wasting diuretic? Do I want to give them hydrochlorothiazide? Like there's stuff like that. It's just you have to realize this is where pharmacology is heavy, and you have to realize what you answer in regards to that question. Okay, so you have to know your meds. Best way to know your meds is studying the family. So every beta blocker is a LOL. Every LOL is a beta blocker, right? Know what a beta blocker does. Know what the signs and symptoms. Know that it's know that's a cardiac med. Know what it does. Once you understand what a medication does, it doesn't matter what question they throw at you. Okay, so understand your medications, and then you'll know. Okay, I really hope that answered your question. I cut off at 121, had near passing, and 2 below. I'm back at it again. I'm not a failure. I know that's right, Miss Missy. Hey, you let them know. We spread nothing but positivity up in here, okay? We let them know. I'm going to keep scrolling. If I miss your question, I'm sorry. And if I don't answer it, go ahead and drop it down there at the bottom. So with the breakdown of the CPR, you just look up the topics of what you got wrong. Correct. So you can literally, like management of care, literally right here. It'll at least in the Texas breakdown, it'll say what does management of care consist of? It consists of providing and directing nursing care that enhances the care delivery setting to protect client and healthcare. Related topics, advanced directives, advocacy, assignment, like where are they going to go? Delegation and supervision, that is huge. Like who can do what? I as the RN can teach. Can an LVN teach? No. But can they reinforce? Yes. Can an LVN do sterile procedures? Yes. Can a UAP do an IV? No. You see what I'm saying? That's part of management of care. So, and it'll tell you right here, like legal rights and responsibilities, quality improvement, ethical, all that falls under management of care. If I go down to pharmacology, it'll tell you adverse effects, contraindications, side effects, interactions, blood and blood products, central venous devices, dosage calculations, expected output. So if I give you labetalol and it's supposed to lower your blood pressure, and then one of the answers is like, okay, let's say your blood pressure was, we'll say 180 over 110, right? But I gave labetalol and it lowered their blood pressure. And then one of the answers was document the findings because it did what we wanted it to do. That's a right answer. So sometimes the answer, or sometimes it's just that easy. But we feel like the NCLEX tricks us so much because they always wanted to know, like, we're always going to see wrong. But a lot of times you're going to see right. That's what I want to see. I want to see a patient's heart rate that's above 60 so I don't give them digoxin. You know what I mean? So, yes. About the CPR, it is broad. However, I kid you not, right there, right here. Yeah, you guys ever see that girl on TikTok? I think she's like an MMA fighter. And she does. That's me right here. So your breakdown is right there. Okay. I'm doing the NCLEX high yield, and let me tell you, it's worth it. See, that's great because I know it's his podcast. His podcast is great. Hey Hannah, what's up? Hey, Hannah comes in here all the time, so shout out to Hannah. Make sure you guys smashing that like button, okay? Yes. That was one of my NCLEX questions. Nurse came in for the shift. Which medications do you give first? Okay, super vague. It is super vague. So now, what medication do you give first? Now, I would need more context than that. Like, obviously, I'm assuming it's going to give you, like, you have a patient that has congestive heart failure that requires blah, 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 blah. Right? I hope that's what it looked like. And here's the thing. One question, if you've gotten 145 questions, one question, not really going to determine if you got it wrong, if you've been getting, if you got more than 50% of them right. Because you're not going to get every question right. And even if you're acing the exam, they're going to pull out something that you've never heard of. You're going to be like, what in the actual hell is that? You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. Definitely super vague. Would you know about newborn non-syndromic hearing loss? No, I would not. So here's the thing. The NCLEX is all about what you need to know, right? If somebody pulls out a question like that, I'm sorry, if NCLEX pulls out a question like that, you can pretty much guarantee that that's a hard question. I've never even heard of that syndrome before. So they would pull that question out if you were doing fantastic. Now, if they asked a question like, you have a patient with a blood pressure of 140/90, the nurse would determine that this is what? We'll say hypertension, hypotension, hypomagnesemia, hypermagnesemia. Everybody in nursing school knows that, right? That is what you learn. That is not a passing question. If you get a question or see a question like that, you better start thinking, because that happened to me when I took my second exam. I got about to question like 150. And by the way, when I took my exam the second time, it was 265 questions. Y'all need to stop playing with me because I wish, they don't even say it on these papers, but I'm telling you right now, I had 265 questions. Ooh, hey, it makes me mad just thinking about it. Okay, 265 questions. And then I got somewhere in the middle of that, and they asked me a question that was like that. That's how I knew I needed to fix it. But then I got nervous. I had 20 seconds left before that exam ended. And that's how I knew I failed. That was probably one of the worst exams I've ever taken. So, I don't know anything about that. I actually would have to look up that, the newborn non-syndromic hearing loss. If you get asked a question like that, that's a hard question. You best believe that you're probably doing very well on the NCLEX. I tried an IV on a simulation arm as a junior in high school, and I can't imagine doing it on a real person. If you want to do it, let me tell you something right now. You want to be a nurse, you better learn how to do it on a real person. You have to, because guess what? A mannequin just requires maintenance and a battery change. You can't be changing out batteries on a real person. You gotta learn how to conquer those fears. And in order for you to get better, you have to practice. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent, because the more that you do it, the more permanent the skills can stick. Okay. If the test changes, would the old CPR matter? Well, yeah, because the content itself is not changing. It's the way that the material is being delivered. That's it. UWorld prioritizations are pretty good. They are pretty good. The questions, they're pretty good. Like I said, UWorld, I don't knock UWorld. If you're one of those people who's really good at answering, who's really good at questions, and you don't need content, like a lot of those times I just looked at them and I'm just like, oh, I think I know it, and then I got it wrong. Or I studied on tutor mode all the time. In reality, nobody should be studying in tutor mode, because your exam is not in tutor mode. You should not do it. Practice like you play. So practice with the timer on, practice with the clock on, and it needs to be randomized. It should never be in tutor mode. Ever, 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 ever. That's what I preach to everyone, and I will not change that. I won't. I will not change my stance on that, because your NCLEX is not on tutor mode. Sorry. I'm just sticking with that. Okay, Emma's answering that question. You would love needles, and the first thing you see on everyone is, yeah. There's one thing about nurses, we have this thing about people with good veins. It's just, and then instantly you're just like, oh, like even if you don't do IVs, and if you're a nurse, you're gonna be like, you instantly want to do an IV on somebody who has a really good vein. So Mark Klimick, Simple Nursing Prioritization of Recording Help Me. Let me tell you something about Mark Klimick. That dude deserves all the praise in the world, because he's older now. He's probably like in his late 70s to in his 80s now. He just retired. I want to say 2 years ago from teaching at Cedarville or wherever he's from, somewhere in Ohio, I think. And that dude is one of the main reasons that I pass NCLEX. And if I could shake his hand like most people I know have used, they would. I actually went to Mark Klimick's review, but it wasn't taught by Mark. It was taught by one of his colleagues, Pete. And I actually have the blue book and the yellow book. And it is, here's one right here. Yellow book, blue book. I went to the review in Houston, and it was exactly like the audios. But I always like to tell people, it's just like, if you acquire his reviews, cool. But don't have his reviews and then hold them in front of somebody like they're on a treadmill with a carrot, and then try to sell them to them. Like, you're making money off somebody's intellectual property. Like, I kind of have an issue with that. You know, if you support it, do it. He actually has a review. Like, go on, it's clinicreviews.com. He actually has the actual review, and the review is, I guarantee you, it's the exact same as when you hear it in the audios. I want to say it costs about like around $300, and he has somebody who's teaching it, and I think it's all virtual. So I'll always praise that guy because he literally is the one who definitely helped me become an RN. Wow, I literally thought the NCLEX was like nursing school, but it's different. It is very different. Nursing school teaches you how to graduate. As a matter of fact, for my veteran nurses that are in here, would you agree with that statement? That nursing school teaches you how to graduate. It doesn't teach you how to take the NCLEX. And I would like your opinion on that. Hey, so I know I've been talking for a very long time. I had a bunch of people jump in here. If you're just now joining, my name is Kevin. I go by the Boot Nurse. I am a nurse. I'm an NCLEX coach. We've been talking about failure. I've been sitting here answering questions. We've been talking about failure in life, failure in the NCLEX, talking about my failures in the NCLEX and how you can overcome. If you or anybody that you know needs NCLEX coaching, if you failed the exam multiple times, if it's your first time taking it, if you're a nursing student about to graduate school and you're going to take it and you need help or coaching or mentoring, check out thebootnurse.com. You'll be able to register. I offer a 30-minute consultation, so to speak, on how to help you. I try to give you as much information as I possibly can. It is me. You will see me, and try to help you, try to get as much out of that as you possibly can. Okay. Follow me on all social media platforms. Of course, TikTok. Hey, if you ain't following me on TikTok, what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop playing with me, right? So if you ain't following me on TikTok, make sure you guys follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter when I get on it. Of course, on YouTube. I have many videos on YouTube. I have a video on YouTube where I failed the NCLEX, where I passed the NCLEX. I've been on a couple of podcasts with people. I talk about my first nursing paycheck on there. So anybody that's about to, like, you're going to see, I break it down. I have a breakdown on there. All right. So make sure you guys are following me on there. Make sure you guys are smashing that like button. I want to see nothing but hearts on the right side of this screen. All right. So thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the love. I appreciate all the support. I really am enjoying doing these. So I think I might start doing them 3 times a week. If you guys want me to do these 3 times a week, y'all let me know. Y'all let me know what's up. And I'm actually going to put a poll in here. If you guys can be patient with me here in a second, I'm going to put a poll in here. And I think I'm going to start doing we'll start doing like content reviews. So if you guys don't know, I'm working on my own NCLEX review. So why not test it out with people that are in here? If you guys are all about that, you guys let me know. So if you're getting obvious answer question, that means you're failing. So if you're getting very, very easy questions, you will know if they're easy questions. Like, you'll know. If they start asking you about, like, hey, what's a normal blood pressure? That's not what we call a critical thinking question or an analysis question. And that means that you're probably not doing well. All right. Import Nation, you're welcome. I know I'm just not getting these. Where can I find one of these books? What book are you talking about? The Mark Clemens yellow and blue book. Ooh, I might got the last one. So okay, so Emma, you agree. I am Victoria. I'm assuming you agree with the statement that I said. Hannah, I'm assuming you agree with the statement that I said as well in regards to nursing school only teaching you how to that nursing school only teaches you to pass nursing school and not to teach you for the NCLEX. Even though they say they incorporate it, but you go through it. Like, you go through it, and then guess what? Once you're done with that test or that semester, like, it's like they don't really care. You'll find those professors and those instructors that are really great and they care about you, but the institute in itself, all they care about is you passing. And then they say they care about you by saying that by throwing a review in your face. But you got to think that people learn differently. I'm not a vet nurse, but it's true. It's just to keep their numbers up for state funding. You are absolutely right. So here's the thing. Did you guys know that if their NCLEX numbers for their school drops below a certain percentage, then they can be brought up on an investigation by the Board of Nursing? Right? So my school was brought up on an investigation by the Board of Nursing because they had so many failures while I was in school, so the people that were graduating the different semesters that I had, probably 3 or 4 semesters, people were like there was like me. I want to say like if they had like 60 people take the NCLEX, like only like 15 of them would pass, right? And so next thing you know, you have these students that are writing to the board of nursing saying that the school is terrible. They don't prepare you. They don't give you the right material. Blah 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 blah. Yada yada yada. And then now the school is like being reactive instead of being proactive. And boom, here you are trying to take the NCLEX again, right? So all they care about is graduating, right? And they care about their NCLEX numbers because if they don't do it right, and this is how I know that the numbers are fluffed. Like you'll go in there and you say, oh, they have a 97% rate of passing the NCLEX. Yeah, when? 2 years ago or a year ago? Because things change every semester. You get a different caliber of students every semester, right? So think about that. Think about that. Yes, the blue and yellow book. Ma'am, I have no idea. If they still do live classes to try to get the yellow book and blue book, that's where you'll get them. I went to the actual class. Like I live in San Antonio. I drove all the way to Houston. I stayed there for 3 days and I did the review. And upon check-in, they give you the blue. He pulls it out of a briefcase, gives you the blue book, and gave me the yellow book. And I'm just like, I was gonna give it away to one of my students, so they could have it, and they were just like, no, I don't want it. And I was like, okay. And I'm so glad that they didn't want it because I can't even give that up. I feel like that's a piece of history. That's one of those things that I was like, I can't give up. So, yeah. I'm not a vet. Yep, definitely for state funding. I agree with the statement, and I'm in my last semester. I am terrified of this NCLEX. Don't be terrified. Don't be terrified of it because if you just told me you're in your last semester, okay, and we are now almost in April, so you're probably going to graduate in May. So you have between now and then when you graduate, and then we'll say a month after you graduate. So you have a total of that's April, May. You have a total of like 2 to 3 months to prepare for the NCLEX. Prepare for it now. Prepare for it now. Is it like it's Vita? It's Vita. You got it. Don't be terrified of this exam. Prepare for this exam. Don't be terrified. Prepare. Okay, bro. These schools are getting more money hungry. Oh, I know it. I definitely know it. Like I had a student of mine, or a mentee of mine, who lives in California, and for her to go to a school, they were charging like $160,000, and I'm just like, I'd rather. Some people aren't willing to do this, but I'm saying, how much do you want it? Leave that state and go to another school. How much are you willing to offset yourself in order to set yourself up for what you want later on in life? You know, I keep losing sound. I'm sorry that you keep losing sound. Come on back, Emma. Hey, shout out to Emma. Hey, y'all. Emma has been a nurse for 40 years. Y'all got any questions about anything? She is one of the veteran nurses that is in here. Hey, Emma. I hope you continue to keep coming in here because you know you definitely can drop some knowledge up in here for us. Hold that thought. Y'all hear him screaming? He's screaming. I don't know why he's screaming. He's screaming. Oh, he's screaming about something. So yeah, my school was investigated by the NCSBN and the board because of the sharp drop in percentages. That is a fact. Like that is true. My school as well. They left about 2 weeks ago. Thank God I'm finished. I'm glad that you're finished because now you can just do your thing. Which school was this, if you don't mind me asking? Why you being nosy? K. Brienne? Hey, if you go, put it this way. I have it. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see what school I went to. And if anybody finds out what school, go find out. And just come drop it in the comments if you can see what school I went to. Same happened at my school. I had to hurry up and get out before they shut the school. That shit's crazy. Like, that is crazy. And a lot of times it's like they're not even, like, they don't even meet accreditation. So you're just like, how are y'all even allowed to even give classes? They come, they take your money, then they bounce. You're like, wow. I also feel like it's super hard to find good RN educators. You're right. It is very hard to find RN educators because a lot of RNs are tired. And think about it, like in the education realm, like the pay isn't nowhere near as what you think it is, and that's just the honest truth. I'm thinking about doing the review with him. I'm in Indiana. I'm thinking about driving to Ohio. Do it. Mark Klimick, he has the most pirated NCLEX review, like in the United States. I'm not going to say on the planet because the NCLEX only really applies to the United States. However, other countries come to here to do it. So people that live in Africa, like Ghana or Nigeria, the Philippines, of course, and in Canada, they take the same one that we do. So think about that. Lovely. What's up, girl? How are you? Thank you for coming back. Did you take Mark Clemens' class for real? Yes, I did. Like, I physically went to his class, but it wasn't him that taught. It was his one of his colleagues, Pete. So if you go to his website, clinicreviews.com, and you'll see all the instructors. If you look, Pete is on the right. He's a bald guy with glasses. He's like an Air Force vet. So he and I got along really well, and he answered all my questions just like he did everybody else. But he taught it exactly the way that Mark teaches. So, and it was great. And so that when I was sitting there, because I had already listened to the reviews for a long time, it was there. The most important thing I learned in school was what's normal. Can't recognize problems if you... Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right, Emma. I failed in 140 questions recently. Okay, so that was recently. So my next question to you is it Yvonne? Is what are we doing next? Just failed the NCLEX. What do you recommend? I recommend looking at your breakdown, figuring out what you didn't do well, and turning around and pushing. So if you have to have accountability. If you're one of those people who's... I'm telling you right now, if I do coaching with any of y'all, the first thing I'm going to be like, okay, tell me about your day-to-day life. Tell me about your phone. Tell me about this. Tell me about that. And I'm going to audit you. I'm going to audit you like the IRS. Rather me audit you than you attempt to fail another exam. And sometimes you may, but you have to take accountability and fully audit yourself on what you're not doing. I can't take the exam for you. You have to take the exam. So now we got to figure out, how can you do that? I'm a senior in high school preparing for the NCLEX now. I'm not playing about being a future. Hey, I know that's right. What was that? The Sweet Life of Shy. Hey, shout out to you. Prepare for it now. That way you don't have to feel like anybody else. But then again, hey, you're a senior, you're in high school, you got some time before you get there. But always have have a plan in place for yourself and stick to that plan And then by the time that you get there, you're going to shatter that NCLEX. And I hope you do. And I wish you nothing but the best on that. Okay. Ivan, me too. I feel bad with, we got this. Yes. In May, I'm starting to prepare now. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. That's what I did. I went to Minnesota. Awesome. I traveled 2 hours away to Orlando to go to a state college because my local college didn't accept me. Hey, was it, wait, is that Kay Brienne? Are you in nursing school right now? Is that what you're trying to tell me? And your local college didn't accept you? Made it back in here, baby. Hey, shout out to Emma. Emma made it back, guys. Well, if that school that was local to you didn't want you, and then the school in Orlando wanted you, I can tell. We can just tell that local college to just go fuck themselves. Shout out. Sorry. Hey, I'm a sailor first. Sometimes I swear. I'm really, really doing well. By the way, when I create my NCLEX review, there will be no cursing in there because we want to remain professional, okay? Here, we making a shout out. We're keeping it raw. We're keeping it real. Thank you guys for joining me. If you're just now joining me, my name is Kevin. I go by the Boot Nurse. I am a nurse, an NCLEX coach. We're talking about failure. I'm answering a lot of you guys' questions right now. If you guys have any questions about anything, make sure you guys check out thebootnurse.com. If you need coaching, if you're a first timer, if you're a nursing student that's going to take it, or if you're a repeat test taker, I got you. Got a 30-minute consultation. Look on those. I'm also working on a mini course. I plan to have that up, honestly, probably in the next 2 weeks. And essentially, it's going to be me going really in depth on how you need to prepare for the NCLEX. So if you guys want something like that, you guys let me know. I want all the feedback from y'all. Like, y'all are the reason why I'm here. Y'all are the reason why I want to put this stuff out. And y'all are the reason that I continue to do this. Okay? So you're good. All right. Hey, girl, I see you out here. Oh, what do you think about UWorld? Hey, y'all tell Ivan how I feel about UWorld. I feel like Mark Clement can be a lot. What do you mean? How do you recommend using Mark Clement? So here's the one thing I love about Mark Clement. If you have his audios, listen to them like they're it's the second coming of Jesus or whoever you worship. All right. This isn't a religious thing, but listen to him like it's gospel. Listen to it. Anytime you're not actively studying in front of your computer, listen to him. If you're in the shower, listen to him. If you're driving to and from work, listen to him. If you're driving to and from school, listen to him. If you're pooping, listen to him. If you're mowing your lawn, listen to him. If your children are screaming, put those earphones on and start listening to him, okay? That's how I used Mark Klimic a lot. And another thing is, like, when I was going through and I was remediating and I was reviewing my tests, I would go through the questions and I'll be like, man, I can't believe I got that wrong. So I would reference whatever content material that they had in Kaplan, because that's what I used. And then I would go into Mark K and I would be like, okay, that's how I can remember that. Because remember, he breaks things down to very simple to where it's relevant. Okay, so that's how I would use him. I hope that answered your question, Carly. I'm just going to call you Carly B. You already know who I'm representing. Hell. Oh, God. I'm immature. I'm sorry. Do you feel that Mark Klimic is a little outdated? So, Mark Klimic's review came out between like 2008 and 2010. After going to his review in 2019, it is still very relevant. It's probably about 90 to 95% accurate. And here's why. If you listen to his audio specific, this is the one that sticks out to me all the time, where he's talking about when you have ventricular disorders, you use lidocaine. And then he says, turn April 1, that's going to be changing. And he was like, it's going to be changing to amiodarone. Funny story is that video is old. And then I ended up getting a question where they were talking about ventricular tachycardia. And they had lidocaine and amiodarone. And my dumb ass picked lidocaine when I know it was amiodarone, and I got the question wrong. So, certain things like that have changed. But honestly, still 90 to 95% accurate. Like, no lie. And I would still recommend them, 100%. K. Brienne, yeah, nursing school. If your local school didn't want you and then that state school got you, I don't care how you go to school, just go to school. Because it doesn't matter what school you go to. Every nursing school fucking sucks. Every single one. I have not met one nurse where they were just like, oh my God, like, I love nursing school. Everything about it. Like, no one has ever done that. Ever. So, doesn't matter what school you go to. No one cares. Some people will be like, oh my God. Like, people will be like, oh, I went to UT. Oh, I went to Texas Tech. Oh, I went to A&M. Hey, I don't care. No hospital's going to care. They just want to know if you got that license. That's what that means. Okay. Vita's out here answering questions. I graduated in December. Whoopsie. I graduated in December 2023 with my BSN, but I feel incompetent sometimes. My nursing GPA is 3.5. So here's one thing that you're going to feel. Well, I think next time we're going to talk about imposter syndrome. Yeah. We'll talk about imposter syndrome. We're going to talk about that next time. No one cares about your GPA. GPA is only a school thing. I need to know, are you competent to come out here and learn, Miss Mizzy, or Miss Minnie. Miss Minnie's 25, okay? I'm coming to give you a try. Come on then, bring yourself over there. Let me keep scrolling. Lord of mercy, I had like so many messages. Mark K teaches you to think like a nurse. 100%, Hannah. Yes, he does. Mark Klimic is on point. I want a steno girl. Yes, ma'am. Any interview advice? By any interview advice. Oh, you mean, so like when you're going to, who is this? Jenny 30. So interview advice. Before I answer that question, Steno Girl, you are correct. Mark Klimic, he used to be an NCLEX test writer for the National Council of State Boards of Nursing. They are the ones that write the exam. And the reason why he stopped making those questions was because you can't make questions and then teach the test. Like, that's unethical. Even though there's a lot of unethical things that happen in this world, that's one thing where you're like, So you got to think is like he understands how they write them. So he teaches you how to think like a nurse to understand them. So, Steno Girl, you're right. 100%. Any interview advice? So my interview advice, I actually had a notebook that had a whole bunch of stuff. So my interview advice is to go in there, of course, be as professional as possible, and they're going to lay out everything that's available to you, such as like, hey, this is what we offer. This is our floor. This is this is that. Ask them about, ask if you get precepted, ask them how long is the preceptorship. Ask them about residency programs. Ask them about training. Ask them about stuff like PTO, or ask them about vacation. Remember, I was in the Navy for 14 years. I have no idea what PTO was until I started working as a civilian. No idea what that was at all. I had no idea what time away from work meant, what that meant. I had no, like, in the military, it was very simple. You take leave, you have convalescent leave, or you have all the, like, I understood how all that went. It was a very easy system. You talk, like, I didn't, like, that's an important thing. What else? If you got, hey, y'all help me out. What's some other questions? Like, when we're doing an interview, what are some questions? What are some questions we can ask in an interview? One thing I will say is ask them about the nurse to patient ratio. I worked in an ICU. I worked in a burn ICU for 6 months, and then I went to a neuro ICU and a medical ICU. The burn ICU, it was 1-to-1, because the amount of issues that's going on with a burn patient, you cannot fathom. You cannot fathom what is going on. It's everything. Electrolyte imbalances, hemodynamically unstable, airway, a lot of people on pressors, wound care, which is by far the most important. Surgical procedures. It's in a burn ICU. It is fucking wild. But that was my first experience as a nurse, and I loved it. I loved every bit of it. Then I went to a medical ICU during the second wave of COVID, and I used to get every night 4 patients that were on vents. 4. Do you hear me? 4. As a new grad. When you ask about patient-nurse ratio, and they put you in an unsafe ratio, you better open up your mouth. You better tell them, hey, this is unsafe. How am I supposed to do this? And then sometimes they'll try to intimidate you and back you into a corner. Emma, you are right. See, nurse-patient ratio. It is not a game. It is not a game when I tell you this. That patient-nurse ratio, it is not just about the patient's safety, but it is about your safety. And it's about your license. It's about your, like, I can't even tell you. Yes, 4 vents. Like, I'm not playing. I'm not playing. And then they were surprised when I told them I didn't want to be there anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are sombering moments. And the thing about COVID was kind of like the Wild West, because nobody knew at the beginning, like, what to do with it. Like, it was like nobody knew what to do with it. Like, at all. And then at some point, it's just, I remember my first day on the floor, we had 5 codes and 5 people died. First 15 minutes, I was on the floor. It was fucking crazy. All right. So think about those things. All right. Thank you. I get excited. Think about the interview process. Yeah, but 100%, what was that? Janelle 30. Hey, 100%. Google, you can also Google some really good interview questions, right? And here's something else. And for my veteran nurses, I would like for you guys to chime in on this one. I want for you to write down your expectations of what you expect from a leader. I got you on that one. Write down listen to what I'm telling you. Write down your expectations of what you expect from a leader, because a manager and a director will tell you everything under the sun about what you are supposed to do. But they don't expect for you, as somebody who works for them, to tell them what you expect for them as a leader. Like, of course, being supportive. Of course, understanding your needs. All that stuff. Right? What do you expect from a leader? So, if y'all don't know, well, y'all don't know this, but I'm a supervisor. I am what we call the lead supervisor for my Navy Reserve unit. I'm in charge of 40 people, right? And so I tell them all my expectations. But then I also tell them what they can expect from me as a leader, right? Because that is what a good leader does. I don't go out there and I don't just bark orders, but I tell them, I'm just like, this is what you can expect from me. What do you expect from me? How can I help you? Because these managers are sitting in their office all the time. I'm not saying that they're not doing anything, because they're doing a lot of logistical and administrative things. But these managers, that's where they're hanging out. That's what they're doing. They're not on the floor. Not saying that they haven't been on the floor. But most people, when they leave the floor, they don't want to go back. So think about that. What do you expect from your leader? What do you want from your leader? The biggest thing is communication. Another thing is understanding, right? Luckily for me, when I was in the ICU, I told her I wasn't happy anymore. And I told her I didn't want to be here anymore because I didn't feel supported. I felt like I got thrown to the wolves. And then she was just like, well, you're an asset. I don't want to lose you. And I was just like, well, I voiced my concerns many times. I told you a long time ago I had this issue and my feelings got disregarded, like flat out got disregarded. So I left and I went somewhere where my feelings didn't feel that way, which is how I ended up in the operating room. That's how it goes. Okay. So I really, really, really hope that answers your question. Thank you, Emma. I appreciate that. I thought that was a really good one. And then of course, so here's the thing is like write down Janelle 30, make sure you write all those down and then open them up. I can tell you right now, if you open up a book or open up a notebook or anything like that, and you answer and you ask them questions, they're going to be like, wow, like I'm really impressed. Like nobody has I've never interviewed anybody who had a book who started asking me questions about like what, like as a leader. Cause that's what I asked mine. All right. So, because that means you care. That means you care about the environment that you're being put in. Okay. That means you care about that. So I know I've been sitting here talking the whole time. We were just talking about interview processes and stuff like that. If you guys are just joining the stream, my name is Kevin. I'm an NCLEX coach. I also go by the boot nurse. We were talking about failure, talking about a plethora of different things. And now I'm gonna recommend a book for you guys. So, but before I do that, if you yourself or anyone that you know needs help on NCLEX, if you're a nursing student about to take the NCLEX, if you graduated or if you've taken the exam multiple times, check out thebootnurse.com. I do coaching over there, 30-minute consultation, completely free. Yeah, I hope to see you guys over there. Make sure you guys are following me on those social media platforms. Hey, if you ain't smashing this like button right now, hey, dead ass. Anybody in here from New York? I'm not from New York. I'm from Texas. So, hey, dead ass. Hey, make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Hey, smash it. I want it right there. All right. So, hey, we have 5.9 likes. Hey, shout out to y'all. Hey, let's get to 6,000. No, let's get to 6,000. So, one thing I do want to jump into is I want to tell you guys about, there's a book that I read that a mentor gave to me a long time ago. If you guys go and look at my video where I talked about where I failed the NCLEX, I talked about one of my mentors. Her name is Anissa. She's an operating room nurse. She's in the Navy. She's a superstar. I love her to death. She's one of the main reasons. She's one of the many reasons of how I became an RN. And when I graduated, you can actually go and see these pictures on Instagram. She gave me a book, and she told me and I'm going to read to you guys what she wrote to me in this book. She said, Gibson, because that's my last name. She said, I hope you enjoy reading. It offers insight of nursing and demonstrates how to truly be a patient advocate. Anissa, that's what she said, right? And so the book is called The Nurses, A Year of Secrets, Drama, and Miracles with the Heroes of the Hospital. And it's written by Alexandra Robbins. So this is the book right here. All right. So she gave me this book in 2018, but I didn't read this book until last year. And let me tell you something. This shit is like Grey's Anatomy. This book is fucking crazy. Like one of the stories is in here. I'm gonna start it off wild. One of the stories in here, there's like a neurosurgeon or whatever. He's like in a relationship with like 4 different nurses, like on 4 different floors. I think he got like 1 or 2 of them pregnant or something wild like that. And, you know, we're all nurses. We all work on different floors. What's the chances of us seeing each other? And then next thing you know, I guess one ER nurse took a patient up to the floor to one of those where they were working, and the doctor was up there, saw her. They were talking. They were like, what the hell? And that's a mess. Like, if this ain't some drama, this is some drama. So I didn't exactly read the book. I did it on Audible, because audio is the best way for me to consume knowledge, especially when it comes to these books, because I don't have the time to sit here and read them. However, my drives to and from work, or if I'm doing a long distance drive, Audible audiobooks, this is it. This book right here should be in every nurse's library. This right here, because it's written by nurses, and it's written by nurses for nurses. There's some stories about racism in here, about how there's like, a white nurse that was, predominantly in a black ran hospital and like in different like southern areas, or you have a black nurse that's in predominantly white areas and see the difference of how they're treated. There's a nurse in here who's talking about she's trying to go through IVF and trying to have a baby. One of the last two stories are the ones that really stuck with me. The first story was a nurse who had got hurt doing something and got addicted to morphine. And she was skimming morphine. She worked in the ER, was skimming morphine out of the Pyxis and became addicted to it. And so the thing that happens is like if you get in trouble for alcohol or drugs or anything like that, you automatically get reported to the Board of Nursing, even if you are not on duty. But she was on duty when she got caught, and they sent her up there. She had to go through probation. She couldn't work, I think, for like a year or 3 years without another RN. She couldn't pull medication. She couldn't do anything like that. And so the story of her growth from getting hurt to becoming an addict, losing her job, to fight to keep her license, to keep in her story with that, it's a really, really great one on how she progresses. And then the last one, it talks about being a patient advocate and still, even though how much sometimes nursing can be hard, the things that we go out of our way to do to really truly take care of patients. And the last story in here is phenomenal. Like, I'm not going to go into detail about it, but it really, out of all the drama and all the mess that you can essentially go through, like this one right here, that last one it's not a tearjerker, but it's really one where it humbles you and it makes you feel so warm. So for those of you who are still trying to become a nurse, know that last story makes all of the hardships and everything that you're going through, it makes it worth it. I promise you. Like, I was listening to this on the airplane when I was going, it was last year when I was going to my annual training, and I was hearing, I was like, what the hell? Like, are you kidding me? But when I got to that last story, I was just like, And I was like, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. All right. So if you don't get anything from this live stream, the nurses, I wish I could flip this around. It's still backwards. But anyways, the nurses, written by Alexandra Robin. Great book. So if you guys get the chance to check that out, make sure you guys check that out. Hey, so if you're just now joining me, once again, my name is Kevin. I go by the Boot Nurse. I am a nurse. I'm an NCLEX coach. We're talking about failure specifically. That was the topic. And then I just gave an example of a really good book that I think all my nurses should check out. It should be in every nurse's library, every nurse's repertoire. If you or anybody else that you know that needs help with NCLEX, if you've taken your exam multiple times, if you have graduated nursing school, or if you're in nursing school right now and you're in your last semester preparing for the NCLEX, you can please always check out thebootnurse.com. I don't give away. I'm sorry. I do a free 30-minute consultation, as well as, I'm always active on Instagram, so I talk to people on there all the time. If you have any questions, please, by all means, you guys can give me a ring over there. I answer simple questions for people all the time. It doesn't matter if you were a nursing student trying to get into nursing school, if you're a prospective nursing student trying to get into nursing school, or if you've been a nurse for 40 years like Emma, who's showed up in here. So I'm always willing to talk to folks, okay? So make sure you guys are smashing that like button, all right? Make sure you guys are smashing it, all right? And any questions that you guys have, hey, if you just now joined the live stream, tell me where you are. Tell me where you're from. Tell me where you are currently in your nursing journey. What questions do you have, not just for me, but for everybody in the live stream, okay? So we're sitting here and we're talking about failure. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to pull up. Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to pull up my second failure, and I'm going to show you guys. Let me make sure it's the right one. So the second time I was unsuccessful was July 19th of 2019. Let me see if I think this is it right here. I'm pretty sure. Let me see. That's near. Yep. So there we go. So right here, if you guys can see that, right? So this is the second time that I failed. So the first time I took my exam was October 26 of 2018. And then notice the date, 7/19/2019. And the reason being is because there was a lot of confusion. Like a lot of everybody asked, like, how do you register for the NCLEX? And I flat out told them, I'm just like, you need to go through your board of nursing, pay the application. They send that application to freaking Pearson VUE. They vet to make sure that everything is good to go. And then after that, they send you your authorization to test. I did not know that. So I sat and I waited for a long time. So next thing you know, it's from October. So November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. That was 9 months. 9 months I had to wait for that. And this is the exam. This is the exam that I got 265 questions. I'm telling you right now, y'all cannot unless you've been in here, unless you've taken the exam before COVID. That's what it was. Before COVID, it was 265 questions. That was the max. And you had 6 hours to take this exam. But I digress. So, notice the difference. Notice the huge difference of my first time that I failed, where I had 5 or 6 below, and now there's only 1 below that's there, right? So even though I got 265 questions, I progressed. I progressed from 5 that were below standard to 1 that was below standard. Like this exam, I teetered damn near under the line. What really started to throw me off was the fact that my time was going down. But then there are 3 ways at the time. There's 3 ways that you can pass. You can pass it. I'm sorry. There's 3 ways that the test will turn off. You pass it at 75, you fail it at 75, or it'll let you keep going and you can run out of time. Or you can go all the way to 100. That's 4 times. Or you can go all the way to 145 questions. So my last 40 to 50 questions, I had 2 minutes to do, and I had tunnel vision. Everything started to kind of shrink in, and I just blazed through it. If I would have taken my time on the last 2 minutes and answered probably maybe the last 3 or 4 questions within those 2 minutes, I think I have a good feeling I would have still passed. But the timer is what really messed me up. So here's my suggestion, is when you are practicing your exams, when you take your NCLEX, you will notice how at the top right corner they have the timer with the time, of course, and they have the counter to let you know what question that you're on. Turn them off. Turn them off. And by turn them off, I don't mean you can't turn them off. I mean you can hide them so you can't see them. Because when I took my exam in 2020, first thing I did is I turned them off. And then when I got to question 40, I realized that I was about 45 to 50 minutes in. And so I'm like, oh, okay. And remember, at this point, they didn't have the research questions. They went away. So when they went away, what did I do? When they went away, I only got 60 questions. So by the time I got to 60 questions, I was at 105. I'm 105. I was at 1 hour and 5 minutes. And then as soon as I went to the next one, the test was over. That is when I got nervous, because the test was over. I wasn't nervous all the way up to it because I prepared. But once that test started ending, I was just like, man, I think my test died. I'm like, what's going on? And next thing you know, it was like, this completes the NCLEX. I'm like, oh my God, right? I was like, no, right? It was one of those moments. And everybody that's taking the exam, you can attest to that. So notice the growth. And as well, notice where, let's say near passing, below passing, so on and so forth. Notice the breakdown. Notice it. It tells you the sections. So I'm looking at or psychological integrity. It tells you, what areas it includes, neglect and abuse, or behavioral interventions, crisis interventions, loss and grief. Here's the one thing and this is the one thing I love about Mark Klimick, is that for psych patients, when they start going in parentheses and all the other good stuff, think about good therapeutic communication skills. I feel like nobody likes me. I'm just going to kill myself. The correct answer for that, dear wish, is you seem to be very upset right now. Tell me more about what's upsetting you. 9 times out of 10, those are your answers. Unless they're saying something about, that's going to directly harm themselves or someone else. or like if they're having a manic episode and they're starting to lash out, what's the first thing? Safety. You want to get people to safety, right? So you want to make sure, or somebody's starting to pull a pencil or something wild like that, right? So psychological integrity. I had below the standards on there. After this one, I don't think I ever had that issue anymore because Mark Clement kind of like solidified that with good therapeutic communication skills. And when I'm in my coaching, I talk about the same thing. What Mark Clement what he talks about is not a secret. It's not a secret at all. So I talk about the same thing because it works and because it's relevant. Okay. So I hope everybody can see this. I hope everybody, can see and understand and don't have any issues with this. But I'm all about transparency. I'm all about transparency and letting you guys know that I failed my NCLEX and that it's okay. It's okay. Listen to me. It's okay. If you failed your NCLEX, I want you to say to yourself that it is okay. And you are right where you are supposed to be. All right? You are right. The NCLEX doesn't determine what type of nurse that you're going to be. You determine what type of nurse you're going to be. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. You determine what type of your nurse that you're going to be. The test tests basic nursing foundation knowledge. This exam wants to know, can you perform as a safe nurse? That's what it wants to know. And that's what I want to know. That's it. Can you perform as a safe nurse? Are you ethical? Right? And I saw somebody ask me a question on here. Who is it? Chrissy Pierce. I'm sorry. I remember you said something. New Jersey, no failure in my last term at LPN school. Got to take the new NCLEX. A little nervous. Don't be nervous about the NCLEX. Like I told you, the format, the content isn't changing. And if the content does change, it only changes anywhere between 5 to 10%. Sometimes it's very, very unnoticeable. But what's changing, which is a big portion, which is like 25 to 40%, is the way that the content is delivered to you. So, case studies are being added. You can they'll ask you to highlight what's important. They have fill in the blanks. Those fill in the blanks include the drop down menus of you putting what needs to go there. Select all that apply or now partial credit. Your multiple choice questions are still there. Select all apply are still there. Like your point and click, like tell me where the suction control chamber is at on the pneumovac. Click and point or what things are in order. Like how do you put on your gown and gloves? Those questions are still there. It's just the way that the content is delivered to you. The format is just changing a little bit. That's it. Okay. So don't be nervous for it. Prepare for it. I had 145 questions in December, but prior to that, I took the exam. Yeah, because I can't remember how long they kept it at 60 questions. I've known people that take the exam at 60 questions and they still fail. So just because it's 60 questions doesn't mean you could just go there and be like, oh, it's nothing. Nope. You still got to put in that work. All right. So I think we're done looking at this one. And I think what I'm gonna do. If you guys have any questions about anything, you guys know where to find me. Go ahead and follow me on all the social media platforms. I said I wanted to put a poll up in here, and I didn't. So this is what I'm going to do. Everybody that's in here right now, which is 30 people, I want you to tell me in the chat right now, I want you to tell me what lecture you guys want to go over for NCLEX. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to start going down a list of lectures that we got. All right. So we can talk about delegation. We can talk about blood and blood components. We can talk about here, let's open this up. We can talk about deep vein thrombosis. We can talk about neuro, like we can talk about, the cranial nerves. Right? Chest tubes. We can talk about that. Diabetes. We could talk about that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to put a poll up somewhere. You know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a poll up somewhere and I'm just going to, here, this is what I want everybody, there's 36 people in here. So I expect 37 people. I expect 37 people to go over to Instagram and to follow me on Instagram because I'm going to post on my stories. I'm going to post a poll. Okay. Everything that's on the NCLEX PN, hey, newsflash, everything that's on the NCLEX PN is the same thing that's on the NCLEX RN. The only thing that's different are your roles. That's the only thing that's different. Know what you can and can't do. Know as the LPN when you need to call the nurse. Know as the LPN, know as the RN when to delegate to your LPN. Sorry, I don't have IG. Chrissy, you need to get Instagram. You need to get it. Or if you have Facebook, everything that's on NCLEX, well, I can't go through everything. I mean, I can go through everything. I take that back. But in one TikTok, I can't go through everything. So I'm trying to stick to one thing. What's that? Narissa. Okay. So do this, Chrissy. If you go to Facebook and look up the Boot Nurse, follow my Facebook, the Boot Nurse. And when I post on Instagram, the poll, you can see it. I missed our session. Was that you? That was scheduled this past weekend? Or sometime this week? Oh, ma'am. Oh, ma'am. Shame. So, yeah, so for Chrissy, yes, ma'am, you can go over there, and when I drop it, when I drop it in the stories, that same story will pop into my Facebook stories as well over there. Okay. It was about 2 weeks ago. It was about 2 weeks ago. Now I think about it. I can't look on my calendar right now, but I know exactly which one you're talking about. Well, ma'am, Narissa, ma'am, go over to thebootnurse.com and don't miss it this time. Okay. So yeah, Chrissy, you're very, very welcome. So yeah, we can go over diabetes. We can go over a bunch of stuff. We can go over seizures. We can go over Parkinson's, meningitis. What's some other big stuff? What's some other big ones that I got up in here? We can talk about safety stuff, transmission-based precautions, MTV, meningitis, tuberculosis, varicella, contact precautions, airborne precautions, droplet precautions. Can I inbox you? You sure can. If you can inbox me on IG, you can inbox me. I think you can inbox here on TikTok. Pretty sure. So yeah, you can inbox me. Therapeutic procedures. We could talk about, like sedation, like moderate sedation, like what does that consist of? We can talk about hepatitis. We can talk about Cushing's and Addison's disease. We can talk about Cushman. Hey, shout out to Cushman, right? We can talk about those endocrine disorders, electrolyte imbalances, right? We can talk about, like, I'm working on some stuff right now to where I like to call them, oh my God. I like to call them my, my pillar contents, right? So, where I do a whole hour lecture about fundamentals, where I do, we talk about MedSurg 1 and 2, we talk about pharmacology. Hey, if there's anything that you guys get from this, I want you to remember 3 things. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 sections in the NCLEX pie or in the NCLEX content areas, whatever you want to think about. The 3 big sections, management of care is the largest, 17 to 23%. Pharmacology, 12 to 18%. And physiological adaptations, which is 11 to 17%, right? That math, that gets you anywhere from 44 to 49% of that entire exam. 3 sections equal up to 44 to 49% of the entire exam. Remember that the NCLEX tests your basic minimum knowledge of nurse safety, right? The fundamentals. Do you know how to be a safe nurse? And it's based at a 50%. 50% is the line. I don't know what test ever in school that they were just like, yeah, get a 50 and you're good to go. Make that make sense. Make it make sense to me, right? So this test is only requiring you to get a 50% or higher. If management of care, physiological adaptation, and pharmacology make up 44 to 49%, if you understood the big 3, the other ones can easily follow suit. Does that make sense? Management of care is a monster. is a monster. That is the bread and butter, the assignment, the delegation. Who do you see? Ethics, all that stuff. That's what that's about. You're welcome, Narissa, no problem. So those are the things to think about. No matter what you specialize in, sadly, you're going to have patients with diabetes. That is a 1,000,000% fact. I have to deal with patients with diabetes all the time. In the operating room, if they have a certain blood sugar, they can't be seen. You have to know what happens when you have a patient has a blood sugar in the 700s. You have to know that. First of all, if you have a patient that has a blood sugar in 700, I need for you to be asking them, hey, sir or ma'am, are you okay? Because what are we thinking about that level? What are we thinking about their LOC, their level of conscience? What do you think is happening right now? Right? As a matter of fact, Emma, you can't answer this question. No, Emma, you can't answer this question. I want you to verify. If I had a patient who had a blood sugar of 700, 800, what do you think they have? What do you think they have? And then if I have a blood sugar of 700, how do I fix it? And those are the type of question that the NCLEX are going to ask you. Like, you were presented with this patient who has a blood sugar of 700, 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to be unconscious. They probably have what type of issue? Diabetic coma. Cool. Yeah, diabetic coma. But what is the exact term that we're looking for? Like, what is the exact term? Ketoacid. Yes, diabetic ketoacidosis, also known as DKA, right? So, if I have a patient that has DKA means that everything is high hydration. Like, when one thing that I will always take from people, DKA, dehydration. So, what's the problem? I'm having a fluid issue, and I'm also having a potassium issue, right? So, I need to get fluid into this patient's body. I need to get potassium moved from intravascular vascular spaces, right? IV insulin, IV regular insulin, right? That's the stuff that we want to drop in there. Those are the type of questions that they're going to ask you. And those are the things that you have to know. I've had patients come, and especially if you work in the ER or if you're an ER nurse, shout out to y'all, because a lot of people that come in at DKA, that's where they end up. They end up in the ER. They end up on regular. They end up on either like D5 with regular insulin, something like that going, or they do normal saline. Because the biggest thing is the dehydration. We got to fix that. Good luck on finding a vein too. Sometimes they come in with IOs, stuff like that. But I don't want to confuse a lot of people in here because they'll talk about interosseous, getting fluids when you can't get a vessel. So. Diabetes is one of the basic skills that a nurse will always 100% always have to know. We have to know it in the operating room because because of all the anesthetic gases and all the anesthetic medications that they're going to be getting can alter that. Now, a lot of it like steroids, oh my God, what was the name? It was not prednisone. But any type of steroid can increase your blood sugar. So now you got to combat that with insulin. Or if they're hypoglycemic, and they're conscious, what do I give them? Rapidly metabolizable carbohydrates. If they start, starting having LOC issues, but they're still conscious, you could do, the glucagon under the tongue or, stuff like that, or you can do, D50. If anybody has pushed D50, all that is a big ass syringe. And it's like pushing pure syrup through somebody's IV. It is wild. It is I literally sat there and I thought I could do it with one hand, thinking I'm all macho and shit. And then hand shaking, got marks all over my fingers. It's stupid. It's wild. So, and then of course I always follow some D5 by flushing. Yes, it's hard. It's hard to push. So, diabetes. Thank you, Emma, for bringing up diabetes, because diabetes is one of those basic nursing skills and knowledge factors that you always have to know. Okay. So, but yeah, I am going to put a poll on, Instagram, and I don't know where I'm going to put it up there. I want to put it up there to where it's long enough to where I get some really, really good feedback. So I may put it on there sometime tomorrow afternoon, maybe around mid, like brunch time. So like 11ish. That way I can get a good, because there's a lot of good traffic on Instagram, around that time. So I think I'm going to put it around 10 or 11. That way I get a whole 24 hours of good time on the weekend. So I can see exactly what you guys want to learn and we can talk about it. Hell, I can even bring in, some nurse practitioner friends of mine to jump in and we can have conversations. We can bring in whoever you guys want, to bring you guys knowledge, right? Especially for all my new nurses that are out here. It's just like, you guys need to realize that, like we're a team, like we're legit a team, and we are going to keep that team factor. Like if this is the first time you feel like you're in a team factor, this is where it's going to be, right? So what specialty are you in? Currently, I work in the operating room. So I'm an OR nurse. I am an OR circulating nurse. However, I am also a nationally certified surgical technologist. So I currently can, if I decide to, or if they need me to, I can actually scrub in and I can participate in surgeries and assist the surgeon in doing surgeries. So I have that. I've been a surgical tech for 13, 14 years or something like that. So I saw it, Narissa. I saw it come through. I feel like the OR was my home to begin with. I wanted to try the ICU because I wanted to expand upon that. And I got my experience for that, and I can say I did it. And now I'm back in the operating room circulating, and I got a squad that I work with right now, and I work specifically doing robots for like OBGYN and for general surgery. I do a little bit of ortho sometimes. I've worked in neuro and I've worked in vascular and urology and stuff like that, but specifically GYN and general, working with the robots. So, and that's another thing I'm trying to, like, these medical devices companies, like the people that make the robots or the people that make any of the things that we use in the operating room, they love nurses. They love nurses. You hear me? So think about that. Do you have to work in the ER or ICU before you go into the OR? Absolutely not. You can go straight to the operating room. You can go straight to the operating room. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go straight to the operating room. So here's another thing is like if you're a brand new nurse, and if you want, which I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, you can, go into a residency program. You can go straight into an operating room residency program. So find out whatever local hospital around you, like a level 1 or whatever. Find out their residency program, see what they have open. 9 times out of 10, they have openings for all specialties, and tell them that you want to do an OR residency. And then you sign a contract. You work for that hospital for 2 years. After that 2 years, you pay them. You pay them back with time because they pay you back with skills or whatever the hell they want to tell you. And then you can either leave or you can stay. That's 100% up to you. One thing I will say is that all brand new nurses should go to a level 1 trauma facility. All brand new nurses should go to a level 1 trauma facility. Period. A level 1 trauma facility essentially gets all the funding, and they have anything under the sun. Especially like I wish I could. If hindsight's 2020, I wish I would have went back. I wish I would have stayed at a level 1 trauma facility, because if I would have, I wish I would have started my ICU rotation in a level 1 trauma facility. If that would have been the case, I probably would still be an ICU nurse right now. But it's okay. Sometimes things just aren't for you, and that's okay. So there's that. I see somebody who just asked me something. No one knows all the answers, no matter how smart you are, but you know where to find it and who to ask. 100%, Emma. Absolutely. Like, if you don't know, ask somebody. Don't ever be afraid to ask a question, because I would rather you ask that question, feel dumb about it, than make a mistake and put your license at risk, and then or worse, hurt somebody, by you not knowing. Hey, I passed my NCLEX a week ago, but I don't see my license number yet. What should I do? Call the Board of Nursing. Call the Board of Nursing to see why. Good to know. Thanks. You're welcome, Bubble. Can you answer my question? Yeah, I see your question now. I just answered it. You got to call a board of nursing. And if you don't see it online, or if you don't see it online, definitely call the board of nursing for sure. Because they'll be able to find you by your name, or I know they have a new application out. It's like Nursey, and Nursey essentially is like the central hub for everything. Like this thing will send you out a reminder letting you know, hey, it's time for you to renew your nursing license and all that good stuff. So definitely I would call. Obviously not now. You would have to wait till Monday, and Monday's not a holiday. There's nothing coming up. So first thing Monday morning, call your board of nursing, let them know like, hey, I haven't received anything in regards to that. So on. So I know in Texas, they stopped sending out licenses. They told, hey, go to Nursey and print your stuff off. I'm just like, damn, bro, I wanted mine on parchment paper. Like, what the fuck? So like I wanted my shit so I can frame it, so I can give it to my, somebody and be like, look, I made it. Right. So me too. But I called the board of nursing. They asked to give it a few weeks. Yep. It could, and it all just depends on your state. In Texas, I took my exam on a Wednesday. I got my results on a Friday, and my license was on Nursey or the board of nursing on that Monday. So it's there. It's there. Man, I said I was going to live stream on Instagram, and I didn't. I feel like such a liar right now. I should have did it on Instagram, but I think I'll wait till Monday. But yeah. Exactly. I want to frame my life. That's what I'm saying. Like, let me be happy about this occasion. Like, what's wrong with folks? Okay. New Jersey, my friend waited 6 weeks to for her number. Like, that's a long time. You would think with technology nowadays, and I'm actually surprised Texas Board of Nursing, just Texas in general, is super fast about it. But I mean, for me to take my exam, and then get it back on that Friday, and then have my license on that Wednesday. On that following Monday, it was pretty good. I have a friend of mine. She took hers in Wisconsin, and as soon as she found out she passed, her license, like it was there like same day. So it all just depends on the state. So it probably gets lost in New Jersey because everybody's so stacked up on top of each other, and the toll roads are terrible. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Hey, speaking of New Jersey, ain't y'all supposed to be getting Aaron Rodgers? I don't know. So there's that. Yeah, I think I've talked long enough. Y'all ain't tired of me talking right now? So, but yeah, so I'm about to get off here, because I got some stuff that I needs to do. I really appreciate everybody jumping in here. I really appreciate everybody and their engagement. I really do appreciate, you guys coming here and truly wanting to try to build this community. I literally moved everything. I moved everything up today, so that way I could get here at 6:00. So I may have to push it to 7:00. But if you guys follow me on Instagram, I will start putting it there. As a matter of fact, I'll probably start putting stuff on TikTok as well, even if it's a little picture of me just being goofy saying like, hey, TikTok live at 7:00. So that way, at least when you guys are going through your feed, you guys will see it. Carly, you're welcome. Emma, of course. Yes, ma'am. You're very welcome. Hannah, I appreciate you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you guys all for showing up. Thank you for the info. Really needed this nerve-wracking. It'll be nerve-wracking, but I promise you, just like me and the hundreds of thousands to even millions of other nurses, you shall and will overcome. I can guarantee it. But you just have to have that tenacity, and you have to push. It's just like they tell us in the military, hey, you see that mountain, go get it, and don't come back until you have it. They don't care what they got to do for it. So you got to make those sacrifices to go up there and get it. No matter how many times you need to go back and forth, you better go get it. All right. I just passed. I'll tell you what I saw. Hey, you can always tell us what you saw. So like I said, I really appreciate everybody jumping in. Thank you guys for being here. Make sure you guys, if you're not, follow me on Instagram. I'm going to drop that poll on there tomorrow. I'll do like five subjects, maybe 4 subjects. You guys pick it, let me know, and then on that Monday we'll go over it. All right. So hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. I'm going to go play with that little light-skinned boy that you guys saw earlier. So, you guys take care, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!